and welcome back to Contemporary Black Voices, where we're talking about terrorists in America. And we're going to continue the discussion we had from our first segment. Caleb, you want to go ahead and pick up where you left off?
Oh, I thought you were gonna read something.
You want me to read this?
Yeah, go ahead and read
Okay.
what you gonna.
Chris made a statement during break about terrorists being America and why. So I've been looking at New York Post in fact, from today's edition, and they wrote, "Terror has arrived at America's doorsteps, and we should be asking tough questions about how and why this has happened. How, for instance, was law enforcement so ill prepared to recognize the signs of terror in New Orleans? And why aren't Americans adequately educated to identify potential terrorists themselves? Most urgently, what more can police do to detect and prevent explosive devices from being planted in our streets?"
I'll answer the last part first and say I don't know what we can do. But I lost my confidence in America protecting Americans when 9/11 happened. When I'm seeing those planes that are hitting and structures in New York City, as well as going into the Pentagon, and you're not even ready to scramble, what the hell are you looking at? Okay? You got all of this stuff. We got all of this money. We're spending trillions of dollars on defense, and we can't protect our homeland and protect our people. So now the situation becomes is that now we've got these people on our homeland. What do? How do we make sure that we can be protected? And then you've got those people who are saying, well, this guy Jabbar was on our radar maybe at least for the last week or for some time, but they still weren't able to prevent it. So it says to me that almost America rules by sight and not might. And what we've got to do is to be able to protect yourself. And until, because we're a capitalistic society, we stop going to stores and so forth because we fear for the terror that might happen, only will things change. But something has got to change if you want us to still be freely to go out to restaurants and movies and to events and different things like that to know that we're going to be safe. Because the number one thing in a person's life, period, is whether or not you can be safe.
Mm-hmm. So I was reading from another source, and the flip is already, or the spin has already started to where using Jabbar, saying that this is a sign that we got to do more to close the border. It's an immigration issue. First of all, Jabbar was a U.S. citizen.
Right.
And when we talk about closing the border, when they talk about closing the border, they're talking really about the southern region. But to me, the border goes all the way around up to Canada. And where is Al Qaeda coming through? Are they coming in through LaGuardia? Are they coming in through Miami? Are they coming through? They're coming in on a plane somewhere.
They're coming to every airport or the airport near you,
LAX.
wherever you are. Whether it be in Austin or whether it be in Columbus, Ohio, or whether it be in Paducah, Kentucky, or whatever, that's the airports they're coming through. And they know, they have studied America so much that they know we cannot really stop them. And especially if they come through and be a kind of either a citizen or something they're a part of us. They're among us. So it's very difficult to stop somebody like that. And when you're weakening, we're looking at an administration that's coming in, talking about weakening the FBI, talking about weakening possibly the CIA and the different things like that. Where are we going to be? Because these folks are here, they're here now, and they're doing different things to us. We ain't even talked about schools. I almost consider them terrorists as well. When you can't send your child to school for fear of what may happen to them, what kind of life are we living in?
So no, my view on this is so a couple of things though. I know overseas Al Qaeda has been dismantled. So a lot of the efforts turn to radicalizing folks over the internet, radicalizing the U.S. And so they've always been very slick media-wise and being able to find vulnerable folks and play upon that vulnerability and to transform them into operatives. And so Al Qaeda has been active, and they've had their hands full in the Sahel in North Africa, in Syria. So they're actually engaged in less in terrorist activities and more in actual combat. And so as far as their terrorist apparatus, it's been more to transform, citizens into terrorists. But my take on that, this idea that terrorism has come to America, terrorism came to America in 1619, as far as we're concerned. And so we've been living under terrorism ever since. So I don't know where they've been. Well, I know where they've been, but it hasn't affected them until recently.
Right.
But no, terrorism has been here for us. And so I just want to make that point. But my other point is with this guy, you said it's Jabbar?
Yeah.
The Jabbar. I think there's a failure. And so the guy he went through stages, the loss, the divorce, a bad financial situation, access to his children. Where were we as a community when we were witnessing this decline? Because people don't become radicalized overnight. And so my question is, as a community, why did he feel that he couldn't turn to someone and say, this is what's going on in my life. This is how I feel. I lost my children. I need a little bit of help. Can you loan me X or Y, Z? And so I'm questioning where we're at also as a community, that we can, when you ask what can we do to stop this radicalization, my question is, can we look towards each other? What can we do?
Define community for me.
I'm talking about us as Black folks.
Okay.
And so we have a thing with, especially Black men, with this perception of being where we have to be hard, we have to be macho. We can't be emotionally vulnerable to each other to say, hey man, I'm going through this. You know what I mean? I just need to talk to you. You understand what I'm saying? And so we need to revisit that.
Let me just say this.
Mm-hmm.
We are the only people, I guess, who give our money to God, and then we ask God for money. So my point is this, is that as Black folks, I've always said we're not together enough to be able to address what you're talking about. How come we can't go to here? But when you talk about the terrorists that normally are happening, talking about outside of schools, because you ain't seen no Black person do anything to the kids or anything like that. But as it relates to terrorism and things like that happened in New Orleans and maybe some of the other stuff, these are people that are either coming from outside of the country or they've been radicalized. But for the most part, they're Black people, okay?
Yeah, but my point is, he turned to the internet and turned to, and he was susceptible to the radicalization. But what made him, susceptible to that radicalization, and why was there no community close by that he could turn to and say, hey man,
I need help.
I need help. And
Well,
that's on us.
One of the things that parallel for both guys,
Mhm.
military,
Mhm.
marriage, relationship problems,
Mm-hmm.
probably PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to probably say Liebesberger had mental health issues. But this man over here, Jabbar, had mental health issues as well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as a community, we have to know that, accept that we've got people out there who come into the community, who are within the community with mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to stop at this point and come back in a few minutes.